Hi there BookTube, it's Emma from Emma's Bookish Lifestyle, and today is a pre-scheduled video, hence why I'm wearing the same top as I had previously, in regard to books that I picked up on my holidays in Devonshire. Now, I managed to pop in to two very lovely independent bookshops. The first one is the Harbour Bookshop in Kingsbridge in Devon, and I can highly recommend it. The ladies there are amazing. I got to spend a good hour and a half, nearly 2 hours, just perusing their shelves, very much just conversing with fellow book lovers, and it was just an absolutely lovely time. And as someone who was a soul traveller, it was nice to just have that little bit of respite and human interaction. Sorry, I'm just going to move my legs because I've been sitting on the floor for a while, so I do apologise. So I picked up a fair few books while I was away. I managed to pick up 7 for myself and 3 that I've bought as gifts for a friend of mine's daughter's birthday, which is coming up in August. But I won't show those, but I will mention them because sorry, I won't show those and I won't mention them for the time being because I'm going to do a children's book showing, or at least discuss the kind of books that I read as a kid. I think I might do that as a video if that would be of interest to you. So let me know in the comments down below if you'd be interested in knowing what kind of children's books I grew up reading and what kind of children's books are out there at the moment that might be of interest to your little ones perhaps. I don't have children of my own, but as I say, I do have young children in my life, and I'm the auntie who tends to buy the exciting book presents because I do believe that reading is an important part of life, and I like to instill that in them. And you know, whether they want to choose to stay with it or not is up to them, but when they're little, there's nothing like a bedtime story, is there? So to sort of start, as we mean to go on, I've got a big hunkster of a book. Now, this is one that I had my eye on in the shop and is called In the Name of the Family, and it's by Sarah Dunant. Now, Sarah Dunant I've never heard of before. I believe she does a lot of historical fiction, which is great because I'm getting into my historical fiction again. And one of the key attractions to me was that this is based around Niccolo Machiavelli, who was obviously closely linked with the Borghese family, or the Borgias. I don't know how you would pronounce it. I'm hoping that the Italians out there will be saying to me, no, you got it right with the Borghese. But I was fortunate enough to go to Rome, and I went to Borghese Park, and I didn't unfortunately get to go inside to view the artwork, but I did get to appreciate their parkland, and I did obviously get to see elements of Alexander VI and Rodrigo, obviously, when he became Pope, when I went to the Vatican. So it's something that's definitely of great interest to me, and it's a time period of a lot of Renaissance politics that was kind of quite bloodthirsty, and kind of you basically killed for what you wanted. And apologies. And Machiavelli obviously was an observer of quite a lot of what happened with the Borghese family. So, yeah. So I want to just apologise first of all for the use of so. I'm a little bit out of practice. But I just wanted to read to you the synopsis on the inside as well, so you can see why I was so intrigued by it, or so keen to pick it up. In the Name of the Family holds up a mirror to a turbulent moment of history, sweeping aside the myths to bring alive the real Borghese family, complicated, brutal, passionate and glorious. Here is a thrilling exploration of the House of Borghese, doomed years in the company of a young diplomat named Niccolo Machiavelli. It is 1502, and Rodrigo Borgia, a self-confessed womanizer and master of political corruption, is now on the papal throne as Alexander VI. His daughter Lucrezia, aged 22, already twice married, is on her way to Ferrara for a third dynastic wedding, and is beginning to discover her own power And then there is Caesar Borgia. I don't know where I got Rodrigo. Oh, Rodrigo is the father, sorry. Caesar Borgia is his eldest son. Brilliant, ruthless and unstable. It is his relationship with the diplomat Machiavelli which offers a masterclass on the dark arts of power and politics. What Machiavelli learns will go on to inform his great work of modern politics, The Prince. Now, I've always wanted to read The Prince but been a bit wary. So I'd love to know if any of you have read it. So if you have read it, let me know. And it goes on to say, but while the Pope rails against old age and his son's increasingly maverick behaviour, it is Lucrezia who will become the bourgeoisie survivor, taking on her enemies and creating her own place in history. So this is going to focus on Machiavelli and Lucrezia. And as I say, it is a beautiful hardback in the name of the family, and it's Sarah Dunnant. So once I get on with this, I'll let you know how I get on, and also I may well go and extend on to further books by her. The next book I got was based on a childhood love, and that was a book and a film called Tarka the Otter. Now, this is going to show its age if you look it up now, but it was a beautiful piece of natural history filmography, and involved real life otters, and ever since then I've always had an interest and a love of them, and when I saw this in the bookshop I could not walk out without it. So this is The Otter's Tale by Simon Cooper. Now, this has been mentioned as infectious and delightful by Country Life and the BBC Country File, so I couldn't walk away from it. And then when I read the inside, I just was blown away. Now, I was a tiny little bit disappointed because I was hoping there was going to be pictures in here. However, when you read the synopsis, it was just right up my street. I couldn't say no. A raspy, wheezy cough cut through the silence, and there at the base of the alder on the roots that formed a sinewy platform at the lake edge sat the otter that I would one day know as Kushta. In truth, she seemed calmer about our accidental meeting than me. In that fraction of a second in which our eyes locked, she assessed me, dismissed me as irrelevant, and then turned in one fluid movement, pouring herself into the lake. That just sounds beautiful. So then it says here, otters are the most secretive yet also the most popular mammals. They are found in every county, but are so rarely seen that they have been raised to mythical status. When Simon Cooper bought an abandoned watermill that straddles a small chalk stream in southern England, little did he know that he would come to share the mill with a family of wild otters. Yet move in they did, allowing him to begin to observe them, soon immersing himself in their daily routines and movements. He developed an extraordinary close relationship with the family, which in turn gave him a unique insight into the life of these fascinating creatures. Cooper interweaves the personal story of the female otter Kushta with the natural history of the otter in the British Isles, only recently brought back from the brink of extinction through tireless conservation efforts. Following in the footsteps of Henry Williamson's classic 1920s tale, Tarka the Otter, readers are taken on a journey through the calendar year, learning the more intimate details of this most beautiful of British mammals. Now, I know that I'm going to love this. I think I'd like to recommend this now to Beardy David if you're watching. Beardy David, I think you'll love this. I think it's the kind of book that you'll like. Based on the stories that you've liked before, and I think you'd appreciate Tarka the Otter. So if you haven't read the slight 1920s Tarka the Otter, I would recommend that to you as well, Beardy David. I'm really looking forward to this. I know this is something that also Victoria from Eve's Alexandria might enjoy, and I'm going to be sharing this with my mum as well, because I think my mum would love it. She loves anything to do with animal stories and animal wildlife. So that's The Otter's Tale. The next book I bought purely on a whim, and I have to be honest with you, because I loved the cover so much, and then I read the synopsis and realised that it was going to be my kind of book. And this is The Valentine House by Emma Henderson. Now I'm going to go as close up as I can so you can see that beautiful cover. And it's a mountainside with a house, and there's birds, and I don't know how much closer I can get without it going out of focus. I hope you guys can see that and appreciate that. Now at the time when I first saw it, I thought it might be Japanese, until I looked more closely at the chalet at the top, and then I realised that it was probably based in Europe. And so I opened it, and this is the synopsis that I came across that sold it to me. In June 1914, Sir Anthony Valentine, a keen mountaineer, arrives with his family in the French Alps to summer in their chalet, where 14-year-old foundling Matilda starts working as one of the uglies. Village girls picked, it is believed, to ensure they don't catch Sir Anthony's roving eye. For Mathilde, it marks the beginning of a lifelong entanglement with les Anglais. Strange, exciting people, far removed from the hard grind of farming and a rich source of gossip for the locals. But she soon learns that the Valentines are less carefree than they appear, with a curiously absent daughter no one talks about. Apologies. It will be decades, disrupted by war, accidents and a cruel betrayal, before Matilda discovers the key to the mystery. And in 1976, the year St Anthony's great-great-grandson comes to visit, she must decide whether to use it. So, I mean, that sounds absolutely amazing to me. Again, a brand new author. I've never heard of her before. And yeah, so I look forward to that. So that's Emma Henderson's The Valentine House, and that sounds very interesting. And I'm trying to read books that aren't always based in America or the UK. So I've got a couple there. I've got Italy and France. The next one I bought from the beautiful Harbour Bookshop was The Portable Shelter by Kirsty Logan. Now, I can't remember which of you wonderful booktubers mentioned this on one of your channels. I'm sure someone did, but I can't remember who it was. I don't think it was Simon at Savage Reads. I think it might have been, I can't think. Sorry, I do apologise to the booktuber who mentioned this, but you were the reason behind this purchase. And it says on the back, "It's time for a story. I know, the night is noisy, don't be afraid. The storm rises on its hind legs, bats are tiny windows in its paws, but the smaller a mouse is, the more likely it is to escape. Here we slip through the cracks of the world." Now, I mean, this is a vintage book again, and I adore that cover, but the lyricism on the back there was what drew me in. And then it's got these beautiful French flaps, which I am an advocate of French flaps. I have no idea why. It's a very sort of stormy blue inside, and I'll read you the synopsis again on the inside in case you haven't heard of this yourself. So, in their tiny sea-beaten cottage on the north coast of Scotland, Liska and Ruth await the birth of their first child. Each passes the time by telling the baby stories, trying to pass on the lessons they've learned, tales of circuses and stargazing, selkie fishermen and domestic werewolves, child-eating witches and broken-toothed dragons. But they must keep their storytelling a secret from one another, as they've agreed to only ever tell the plain truth. So to cloak their tales, Ruth tells her stories when Liska is at work, to a background of shrieking seabirds. Liska tells hers when Ruth is asleep, with the lighthouse sweeping its steady beam through the window. Now, I don't know if you've read this, Mel at Mel's Bookland Adventures, a portable shelter, but if not, and you fancy doing a buddy read on this, seeing as I know how much you love Scotland, let me know. Let me know in the comments down below as soon as you can, and we'll get it booked in. Because it's not a very large book, it's a slight book. It's only 161 pages, so I think we could do it in a week. And it's based in Scotland. But if you have read it, Mel, I'd love to know what you thought of it. and let me know again, as I say, in the comments down below. So I've got 3 other books remaining, and I'm just looking at the video. I'm at 15 minutes, so I'm going to speed up. One of the ones that I've got is it was a charity telephone box, believe it or not, where you put in one you've read and you take out one you haven't. And so I always carry in the boot of my car a small selection of books for the charity bookshop, and I happen to have some in there, so I put some of those into the phone box. I don't tend to keep anything over 4 stars now, and I found this, Robert Harris's Conclave. Now, I loved Fatherland and a few of his earlier books. I haven't read the Roman series, although I think I've got Imperium on my audiobooks to listen to. But this is, again, based around papal Rome, so something that always interests me. And it says, the Pope is dead. Behind the locked doors of the Sistine Chapel, 118 cardinals are meeting in conclave to cast their votes in the world's most secretive election. They are holy men, but they are ambitious and they have rivals. Over the next 72 hours, one of them will become the most powerful spiritual figure on earth. Which one of them will it be? And it just looks amazing, and I think it'll be a nice, easy read and just a bit of a break. Again, historical fiction / thriller, so it might just be a bit of a break and reintroduce me back into Robert Harris. The next one I got is one from Vintage, and it is by Angela Carter, and I will be doing a very short video imminently, including the two books that I recently got from Victoria from Eve's Alexandria. Oh, my brain is shutting down. And this is by Angela Carter, and it is Wise Children. Now, I'm starting to collect these editions. I do like the fact that they're all red and they match on the shelf. And she also did one called Nights at the Circus, which I haven't got yet, which I'm hoping to get in the sort of similar style cover. This says it's a richly comic tale of the tangled fortunes of 2 theatrical families, the hazards and chances. Angela Carter's witty and bawdy novel is populated with as many sets of twins and mistaken identities as any Shakespearean comedy, and celebrates the magic of over a century of show business. I mean, that just sounds amazing fun to me, so I'm really looking forward to reading that one, and that's Wise Children by Angela Carter. I have actually changed my mind, and it is going to be a slightly longer video, so I do apologise, but I did get 2 beautiful books this month from my book swap with Victoria Eve's Alexandria, so I am going to slot them in at the very end, so I will be a little bit quicker, I promise. This is one that's been on YouTube quite a lot, and this is London Lies Beneath. I think I first saw it with Simon at Savage Reads, and this is about 3 boys that have grown up in the crowded slums of London, and one of them has a dream to basically, I think, go off on a sailing expedition down the Thames, and persuades his friends to go with him basically, and that's how that trip affects their lives. That's London Lies Beneath by Stella Duffy. Again, another new author to me. Lovely, lovely, lovely floppy Virago, I think it's Virago, yeah, Virago paperback. New author, beautiful cover, and I don't know if you can see, but there's glints of gold in that, so yes, looking forward to reading that. And lastly, the 2 books that I got this month from Eve's Alexandria, and these are Under the Udala Tree by Chinelo Okporanta, and again, I believe this is her initial book. It's based in 1968 Nigeria during the height of the Civil War, and is in regard to a young girl who's basically following her meeting with other people. And there's 2 tribes, there's the Igbo tribe and the Ijoma tribe, and they're one and the other, so they're both in separate tribes, and how their friendship basically happens, and how it shakes their lives up, and how it changes Horsa's interaction and her belief in her Ijoma faith. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think I've said before, my cousin is married to a Nigerian gentleman, and so I find Nigerian books really interesting. And although this is, again, a fictional book, it is based in a country outside the UK and the US, so I'm really happy to be reading this. And that's published by Granta. And last but not least, another Virago, and wow, what a beauty this is. This got added to my list by the fact that I saw this on Jen Campbell's channel, and this is Angela Carter's Book of Fairy Tales. Now there's some beautiful books out there with fairy tales in, and I've got quite a lot on my wish list that I'd like to get to as soon as I can, because I think I found one of Japanese fairy tales and various other countries and continents fairy tales which I'd love to read. So this is Angela Carter's Book of Fairy Tales, and this says on the inside, I'm just going to read it for you because it's beautiful. This is Angela Carter's pick of Mother Goose's feathers. Once upon a time, fairy tales weren't meant just for children, and neither is this book. This stunning collection contains lyrical tales, bloody tales, hilariously funny and ripely bawdy stories from countries all around the world. From the Arctic to Asia, and no dippy princesses or soppy fairies. Instead, we have pretty maids and old crones, crafty women and bad girls, enchantresses? Yeah, I think it's time I went to bed. And midwives, rascal aunts and odd sisters. This is a fabulous celebration of strong minds, low cunning, black arts and dirty tricks, and could only have been collected by the unique and much missed Angela Carter. So, wow, I can't wait. I cannot wait. And this is going to be my next read, I think, after I've finished everything that I'm on. That's the next one I'm going to, people. It is the next one. I can't wait. So I hope you're all well, BookTube, and I hope life's been treating you well in the week while I've been away. I'm off to do some temping bowling this afternoon. If I can stay awake long enough, I might have to see if I can have a quick cheeky cat nap. And I'll speak to you soon. Take care for now. Bye.